この痛みも振り払って今立ち向かえるあの日誓った未来が水平線で眩しいほどに光を放つなら何度でも何度でも走り出せるよ自分を裏切れはしないだろう幾千の夜を越え動き出したストーリ
My new deck profile for Vanguard, this time again for the Overdress series. This time for my favorite unit in all of the series, Dragonic Overlord. He got what's called encounter cards for the new series. Basically, these encounter cards are some of the older units in the series. And since, Dragonic Overlord is one of the first, of course he gets one. This deck is, you can get into it. First we'll do the Ride deck. First, of course, is Dragonic Overlord himself. His abilities are on Vanguard and Rearguard, surprisingly. During the battle that this unit attacked a Rearguard, your opponent cannot call cards from their hand to Guardian Circle. So you get a guaranteed attack on Rearguards with him, which is interesting. And then his second ability, once per turn on Vanguard, if this unit's attack hits, which is guaranteed if you attack a Rearguard, counterblast 1 and discard a card from your hand, stand him and he gets drive -1. This is pretty much a new take on his original ability. I quite like it. It's not as good as the V-Series one, but for the Overdress series, it's acceptable, in my opinion. Next up, we've got most likely his second in command, Dragonic Nahalim. Well, this unit is rode upon by a unit with Dragonic Overlord in its name, which most likely means we're going to get more Overlords. Call this card to Rearguard. Really cool. Probably one of the best Ride deck cards that we've got right now. Once per turn, if you have a Vanguard with Overlord in its card name, again, future-proofing. And this unit, count up Soul Blast 1. And this unit and all of your Vanguards get +5 until the end of turn. Really cool. Next up, we've got Embodiment of Armor Bar. When this unit is rode upon by Nahalim, counterblast 1, search your deck for any grade 1 card. Yeah. That's really good. And then another once per turn, when your Vanguard's attack hits, this unit gets a +5 until the end of turn. Really cool. And then, of course, we've got his starter, Lizard Runner Undo. It doesn't really do anything. It has the generic starting Vanguard ability for the D series. When this unit is rode upon, if you went second, draw a card. And that's it for the Ride deck. We can now move on to the main. Of course, we've got 3 more copies of Overlord. I already went over what he does. Again, 3 more copies of Nahalim. Once again, we know what he does. Oh, and yes, Dragonic Overlord is the only grade 3 you run in this deck. I did experiment with Tribash, but he was never going off, so I instead went with more cards to help support Overlord. Next up, we have another one of Dragonic Overlord's most trusted allies, Berserk Dragon. When this unit attacks, if you have a Vanguard with Overlord in its name, +5 until the end of turn, then choose one of your opponent's grade 2 or less Rearguards and retire it by counterblasting 1. Probably one of the best retiring skills we have in Overdress. Sadly, it's locked under Overlord. But hey, what can you do? Next up, we have an interesting choice for, in my opinion, 2 copies of Burnbright Pure Prayers. This is a Blitz Order card. If your damage zone has 3 or more cards, choose one of your units and it gets +15k until the end of the turn. This is for essentially giving you much easier skills to guard with. Blitz Orders you can use on your opponent's turn. So yeah, they're kind of defensive spells. 3 more copies of Bar. I went over him already. Next up, another of Overlord's allies, Dragon Monk Gojo. When the Vanguards attack that this unit boosted hits, retire him and countercharge 1. Really cool. Probably one of the best versions of Gojo that we've gotten, and it provides a lot of countercharge for Dragon Empire in general. It's really good. Okay, and then this was the card that I added to my Nirvana build the last second after the video, so whoopsie to that. Stealth Dragon Togashi Rashi. When this unit is discarded from your hand during your turn, you may put this unit into your soul. This is why I put it in the Nirvana deck as well. You discard for the Ride deck, you discard for Nirvana skill, you discard for Valiente, and that deck really needs the soul because of Urger. So I put him in that, and he's in here because you discard with Overlord, you once again discard for the Ride deck. You have a lot of opportunities to discard him. And that's it for him. I found Tencha Stead a bit more useful in this deck because, well, you don't have to run as many necessary cards in this build. You can pretty much, well, except the very necessary Overlord specific cards, you don't really need to run anything else specific, unlike in Nirvana and that whole thing. You have to run your Overdress cards, you have to run Nirvana, you have to run Trickstar. Your deck space is very limited in that. In this, it's not. When the attack that this unit boosted hits, counterblast 1 and retire him. Choose one of your Vanguards, search your deck for up to 1 card with the same name as that card, and reveal it and put it into your hand. This secures your Persona Ride, so you can boost up the power of your Dragonic Overlord. And since, again, he's the only grade 3 you're running, you need to search for him. An interesting card that I saw a few people running is Stealth Dragon Kisan Reiji. Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, choose one of your opponent's rear guards in the same column as this unit and retire it. Probably the best generic retiring skill we've got right now. We're probably going to see more in the future, but for now, he's the best we've got. He's a little bit costly and really specific, but again, the Overdress format is very young, so you can kind of get away with running cards like this. Next up is all cards we've seen in the Overdress deck, so to round it off, we've got 4 copies of the Perfect Guard, Twin Bunkler Dragon, so stop attacks guaranteed, 7 crit triggers, four heals, four fronts, and of course, to round everything off, we've got the over trigger for Dragon Empire. And that's the deck for Dragonic Overlord in the Overdress series. Again, he's my favorite unit of all time in Vanguard, and I am so happy that I was finally able to build a deck around him. I tried to do it in the original series, I tried to do it in the V series. As you know, in my video for the starter decks at the start of the V series, I said I wanted to build Overlord. That never ended up happening, unfortunately. And now, finally, I have a deck built around him. Easily one of my favorite decks I've built so far for Overdress, and yes, this thing's my baby. Thank you for watching this video. Next up is probably going to be a deck profile for Bastion in Vanguard, or, well, even though I had trouble explaining, a Weiss Schwartz deck before. I'm probably going to do the Kotori one finally, after I did say I would do it in the origami deck profile. So really, expect either of those from me next. This is probably going to be the only video going out for today, but hey, I hope you all enjoyed it.